Well, what's up, y'all?
Hey.
It's about time for another Rooted in Progress episode. If you aren't tired of us for 3 days in a row.
3 days in a row. It is. It has been. But it's been a fun 3 days.
It has. It has. Come on into the Rooted in Progress Dream Center. It's your favorite people. Deanne King and Terrence Middlebrooks.
Have you had are you tired of us yet?
No, they better not be.
They better not be.
I mean, you watch it, so you can't be.
Yeah. You're here. You woke up with us. You woke up with us. Last 2 days, you've been pretty much
gone to bed
sleep
with us
Yeah,
for some.
absolutely.
You know,
Yeah.
we've been here late at night too.
So,
but it's been fun. I think this candidate conversation series that we did, it's one, I've actually grown a newfound appreciation for what city council members have to do as far as like running for an election.
Right.
I'll never do it.
Now, real quick, to be consistent.
Yeah.
What number are we at with the candidates, according to you?
1,436,242.8 candidates are running.
Yes, and a half.
And a half.
Yeah, so
that's how many.
If you haven't followed us, we've had not all 14 candidates, but we've had quite a few of them on here, and every day we've had someone on.
We're at about like 10
Deanne's
now.
number go up and up and up.
Because that's
and
how
up.
many candidates are running for
It's
Tampa
a lot
City
of people
Council.
running for this seat.
But that also tells you how important this race is.
Absolutely.
And so today we are honored, we are humbled and excited to have the incredible Ariel Amirah Danley join us live on her quest to fill the District 5 Tampa City Council seat. How you doing, girl?
I'm doing well. I was just saying I'm a little nervous, Deanne. You know, you're the only journalist that was able to pull a tear out of my mother. So really knowing how to get to the root of a story, pun intended.
Yeah.
Well, don't be nervous. It's just us.
Right.
We just hanging
happy,
out
excited.
with all of the others who are listening and watching, but that's okay. They'll be okay. You're gonna do great.
I'm happy to be here. Thank you for
You're
having me.
always
Yes.
yourself, you know, and this is like home. We at the kitchen table. That's
I'm
what
happy to
Rooted
be
in
here.
Progress is.
Well, let's eat.
Let's
go.
do it. Let's start with just you. Tell the people who you are growing up here in Tampa, a little bit about your upbringing and your childhood.
Thank you. My name is Ariel Amirah Danley. I was born and raised right here in District 5. I'm third generation District 5. Actually, my grandfather settled in the Scrubs in the early 1900s. Back in the day when my family first got here, my mother bought our home through the Challenge Fund in Tampa Heights in 1991. We moved in with 92. So I'm 35 years old. A Tampa native, the 16th Councilwoman, the Honorable Gwendolyn Henderson is my mother.
Yes.
And I'm running to honor that legacy and to fight for the future of our community. I'm fighting for safer streets, attainable homes, and real opportunities for the people who live here. So that's what my campaign is about. It's all about us linking arms and holding hands and building the Tampa we deserve together.
Now, we just, you mentioned that your mother was a wonderful, wonderful lady, and our condolences to her passing, as always. Yeah. How much of your mother's legacy were you right there beside her during her campaign run and all this? Had this helped you get ready for this run? This race?
Absolutely. It helped me get ready because me as a candidate, this candidate is also an organizer. The candidate is an organizer. So I definitely was the boots on the ground in 2023 to help secure the victory that my mother brought in on March 7th, 2023. It was an integral part of that victory. And we just had to do a lot of work, with the community, getting out there and engaging and the boots on the ground and making sure that the strategy was tight because we aren't career politicians. We just happen to be good neighbors that care about the people that we live amongst. And so I absolutely did my due diligence. And then the last 15 months of my life, once she held the seat, obviously was spent going into those secured doors into council chambers. I mean, I obviously am not a council person and not yet. So I'm not subject to sunshine law. So I was able to go back there, talk to all of them, constantly watching the youth YouTube and every Thursday to see how District 5 was voting, what our representative thought about every issue, texting her while she was on the dais and saying, "Mommy, why did we vote like that? What did the lawyers say? And what brought you to that decision?" And also, being in her cabinet for those 15 months and being able to be a contributing voice to ultimately round out her perspective and the decisions that she was going to make up there. So I've been quite involved for the past year and a half, and it's my intention to continue to finish our 15 months. I would want to do it absolutely bringing my mother with me, and I feel very in step to do so.
That's great.
Let's talk about Mama. Let's talk about you and your upbringing and being raised by Gwendolyn. Because even just knowing her and having a relationship with her, my personal relationship with her, it immediately felt like mom or aunt. And so I can only imagine how you felt growing up in a house with Gwen as your mama. So take us through maybe some memories and what it was like during your childhood.
Well, she was definitely an outlier. I always loved seeing her engage because I know I am biologically her only child, but she had so many children. You quickly became one of them, Deanne. And so it used to be, it used to always touch me when people come up and say how great my mom is and, how she helped move the needle in their life. But let me be honest, living in the house with Gwendolyn Henderson was no small feat. She was constantly challenging me. She was absolutely a helicopter parent. I mean, she did help me. She did help me, build my independence rather quickly and put me in a position to steward over my own life well. But she was a tough cookie.
Yeah,
and
I can see that.
I got a different version of her, than the public did, but that's my girl. I love her through and through, and she definitely helped bring me to this moment, so I'm very grateful.
What's one of the biggest lessons you learned from your mom?
Oh, I mean, there's so many, right? But just her go-to mantras would be things like "stay in the race," which is so ironic now in this season, matriculating through Howard University and me getting to a hard hurdle that I had to jump over, or when life was challenging me and just saying either stay in the race or complete the task. And so that's what I'm looking to do here. This is something that we accomplished together, and I want to continue to be a good teammate. It's always been just my mother and I, and so I want to complete this task as well.
Yeah.
So
it seemed like just the duo.
Yeah. Yeah. So back when your mom was running for this seat, you said that you guys are not career politicians. What was your thought? You was like, "Mom, what are you getting into? Are you in?
Why are you doing this?
What's going on?"
Oh, we're gonna be very honest this morning. Okay, so my mother, I from maybe 20 years left in her career as an educator, I was very keenly aware of where we were. And once we got to, because as I said, if you all attended her homegoing services, I was a latchkey kid. She's a single mother. So oftentimes I was letting myself in the house, waiting for grandma to come over so that we can cook dinner together. And my mom finished up her third job for the day. And so because of that, I'm so sorry. I just got a little turned around. What was
We were just asking, like, when she was running for her campaign, like, again, like you said, that you guys are not career politicians.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and so because of that, once we got to the 10-year mark and she was on her way working towards retirement, I started a countdown.
Yeah.
And when we got
we're done.
Yeah, like we are on our way out. I get to have my mother back, finally. And so once we got to being 10 years away from that goal, that accomplishment, she said, "I'm running for office." And I was like, and she said, "We're opening a bookstore." Wow. So I said,
at the same time.
Yes. And so I was like, I thought I was going to finally be able to get you in a way.
Catch a flight.
Yeah.
Go chill. Grab a drink.
Fly us out together. Yes, exactly. Go and kick our feet up somewhere in the Caribbean, but absolutely not. She stayed true to who she is, and she just kept reinventing herself and gave us more to fight for, and ultimately set a great example for me that you're never done. You're never done being a student. You're never done soaking up knowledge and sharpening your skills and becoming a master of a new trade. It's not over till it's over.
What do you think was her most successful accomplishment?
Me.
During her period.
Yes.
Period.
I am my mother's greatest work.
What do you think, though?
Good and bad, right? There you go.
From a council standpoint, what do you think was her most successful accomplishment while serving on city council?
Well, I'm so glad you asked that question, and I have to just, as I've been doing, just representing our legacy, I just want to, bring some facts to the table. She absolutely moved the needle. No, and none of the council people that are elected right now, for the most part, got up there being career politicians. And so they were not so tapped in, tuned in, and turned on to policy on day one. And sometimes I feel like the way that we are articulating or expressing ourselves as it relates to the seat makes it feel unattainable to the everyday person. And sometimes we intellectualize what the duties are. It really takes someone who can comprehend, lead with a genuine and honest heart, know how to add and subtract, and know how to read. Yeah. And so if you have those skills, then you're absolutely prepared to get to work on day one. And I know for sure that my mother was very useful and valuable when it came to expanding equity in the city. The charter, as it stands now, makes a commitment to expanding equity to groups and to people who maybe traditionally aren't awarded the contracts or the opportunities. And so there was still some redlining and contradiction to what the charter says as it relates to that. And so she dug in head first and made sure that she got to work expanding opportunities for people who own businesses in our city to win contracts with the city and get on those lists. A lot of people are masters of their trade, but maybe they don't have the administrative acumen that it would take to get over that final hump to win a contract. And so that was the work that she was committed to. And she was also, because she was the representative for District 5, historically represented by a Black Democrat and the core of our Black leadership in this community, she often held the line and was the swing vote to, as reading those contracts, making sure, always questioning, who does this benefit? And will it benefit the people that look like us or that maybe deserve opportunities that they don't usually get? And so she was always asking the hard questions. Yeah. And she was always asking the hard questions, and she also was that final vote that was able to move the needle and get that Fair Oaks project ball and rolling. So she was able to accomplish a lot in her short 15 months, and I was right there with her. I like to kind of like bring people into the configuration of her office. So there's a couch sitting directly in front of her desk, and I was often sitting on the couch with her speakerphone being open, and it was so often being a call from the mayor or a call from Nick Scacco, the head of the fire union, or a call from Chief Burkhoff, or a call from Susan Johnson-Felez, or any of the given city staff. And so it was such, putting me ahead of the learning curve, being able to be privy to those very sensitive and private conversations that ultimately were taking place to move the needle forward and to give us a better place to live.
That could make a difference. Yep. I mean, a huge difference, right? Because I like what you said there, because I've heard it, right? So y'all know this Rooted in Progress, we're very real. People feel like, or they want someone who is ready, right? But when you look at the seats, you look at the dais of Tampa City Council, right? Not everybody was a legislative aide in their past. Not everybody ran for a political office before they won that election. A lot of people they were entrepreneurs. Yeah. They were your neighbors, all of these things, right? And so you have these people who are saying like, oh, you got to have this kind of thing on your resume in order to be qualified to run for this position. But what does that really mean? Yeah. So then when you hear stories like yours, where you're talking about being privy to certain information and then learning the ropes behind the scenes, because you're literally behind the scenes because you have that access, I see how advantageous that could be for a candidate like yourself.
And I don't think that we're getting anywhere alienating anyone from engaging in the democratic process. And also, I do challenge the listeners to say, a lot of the people that you're going to hear from in this campaign, and I don't often talk about my opponents. I try to stay out of the weeds and away from that. But a lot of people have been in leadership in our community for the past 20 years, in the CRA, engaging with the CAC. And so not to, be too forward, but I would ask, if those were the voices that were going to move the needle forward, then why didn't they do it in the past 20 years? So I think it would be smart for us to add, as Jean-Michel Basquiat would say, I'm the artist because I'm an artist at heart, putting those old ideas through a new mind, a fresh mind, so that a new voice can be added to the conversation, because obviously there has to be one missing if the needle hasn't moved.
Because you stated you're not a career politician. Do you feel like perhaps your age could be an advantage or disadvantage?
I'm so glad you asked that question, Mr. Middlebrook, because we are collecting debt as we develop this city. Let's just be very clear. It costs. We're collecting debts. We're agreeing to different bonds. We were just at the dais and making public comments about whether or not we thought we should go after the CIT tax again. And so that is a 30 to 40 year debt. And so ultimately the youth represented by our generation, the millennials, the elder millennials, are going to be the people who are holding the bag the longest, paying off the debts that this city collects. And so I think we would be doing this city a major disservice if we continued to not have someone who is young, someone who represents the future, someone who is a part of that group, the youth, I am the youth, sitting at the table and contributing to what we feel as it relates to how our money is going to be spent.
Yeah. And when I think back to how we even got here, right? And the unfortunate event of your mother passing, you take us through where your mindset was, because you're dealing with an unbelievable loss that came out of left field, right? While also thinking about what do I do next? And that's a lot on one person at one time. Take us through where you were mentally when that happened and how you got to the ultimate decision that you were going to run.
Believe it or not, it happened very quickly. I hate to I don't know if morbid is the right word, but I have been very detailed in describing my journey, and so it does have some very intimate moments in it. My mother and I buried my grandmother, her mother, just about a year and a half ago. And so pretty much like everything as it relates to this race and my mother, I had a very great example, a very recent example on how to help your family member transition, what it looks like to lay someone to rest. And I saw what it looked like for my matriarch, and she stood strong, to be quite honest. And so I'm always looking to make her proud. When I walked into her room on June 10th around 6:45 in the morning, I found her. She still had warmth in her body, but I could tell that she was gone, because I knew what my matriarchs looked like when life had would no longer be in their body, because I'd just seen my grandmother's face. And so I knew she wasn't with us anymore. And I walked out into the hallway and I said to myself, immediately, this seat is mine. It happened immediately, because there was this saying that I heard a while ago that stuck with me, that said, sometimes, people pass away and then their jobs are posted in the newspaper and everyone just moves on. And my mother deserves so much more than that. Her legacy deserves so much more than that, actually. And so I've been running since about 6:45 a.m. on June 10th, but they did post the position the morning of June 17th. And so, very true to that quote about moving on after someone passes away, we buried my mother on June 17th. So the day that they posted the position was the day that we laid her to rest. And like I said, I've been running the longest. I've been running since June 10th. And so I knew that this seat was going to have challengers. I knew that it wasn't going to be a part of my inheritance, which is fine, because I don't mind fighting for my mother, and I also don't mind fighting for my city.
Yeah. At that moment, you said you walked out in the hallway. Did you recall those moments when you were sitting there on the couch in your mother's office, listening to those conversations that she was having, or those phone calls you were having that she had you on speaker? Did all that play in your head like, wow, my mother was preparing me for this moment?
No, not really, because, you know, I'm actually living my life in real time. So I can see how an outsider, like, that review would happen because I'm telling the story. But because I'm so dropped into my life, I just, it was in me and not on me. And it's kind of crazy. I don't know if you've ever seen that movie Ghost, where Whoopi Goldberg is sitting and she's like reading fortunes, and she's talking to a family, and one Orlando infiltrates her body. You know, and she's like, don't do that without my permission. The only difference is I feel like my mother had my permission. I felt the moment where I knew she was still with me, and I felt the moment where our existence collided. And so I didn't really have to go through too much reflection. I just was very present, and I knew that I didn't want to let it go. I didn't want to let what we fought for go. And so here I am fighting for it.
Well, before this moment, what was your plans before this?
She passed?
Yeah, before she passed. What was your plans? Like,
well, actually, we had our first meeting on the books for June 17th, ironically enough. Her campaign team, because I was such an integral part of that, and we were gearing up to run the race for her reelection.
Wow.
So we had a planning meeting on the books for June 17th, the day we laid her to rest, and I thought that was just so ironic. And so, but my plans as it related to just my own path and my own life was I was considering going to law school because I knew I had just finished running the Harris Walz campaign. I ran the region, Polk County, Tampa, Hillsborough County, all the surrounding areas. I was the head of the region. I had to hire staff and coordinate the efforts to try and get them over the line. And so I was just coming off of that and still doing a little mourning and asking myself what was going to be next, and at the same time being very present in what was happening in the local government of my city. And so I was considering law school, and of course my mother was, someone who was a few credits short of taking it all the way and having her doctoral degree, was like, well, you don't have to go to law school. Maybe we can get we can get a master's degree. We can hang a master's degree on the wall. But I was considering law school, and then gearing up for her campaign, and always considering where would I want to run first. I knew I was going to be a candidate one day. I just didn't know when it would start and where it would start. Right. And so, of course, I never thought that I would get it like this and that the timeline would be expedited, but we can't question God's plans. I trust him. I know the plans that he has for me. And so I'm not going to be the person that starts questioning his authority now.
Yeah. Well, you talk about planning, right? So you have all of that happen, battling, burying your mother, and running for office. And when I sat there at her homegoing service, which was beautiful, by the way,
thank you.
You ended it. So it's the first time I'll share this technically publicly. When I got the news about your mother passing and time had gone by, we have meetings every Monday. Mm-hmm. And I was like, she's gonna run. She has to. Yeah. I was like, she's going to run. She has to. And I'm like, if I know anything about Gwen, her daughter is ready. Yeah. And then when I sat there at your mother's homegoing service and you ended your words, I said, she's doing it. Yeah. She's doing it. And it felt, I think you could feel not only your spirit, but your mother's at the same time. And I think it meant so much to the people who either watched, if you all watched Councilwoman Henderson's homegoing service, I think we all felt that essence and that spirit. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it was positive. No matter who you're voting for, no matter who you're going for, it's something to acknowledge. Because one, it takes a lot to do that when you're going through what you were going through. Sure. So we've talked, and I love and commend you for doing what you did and how you did it, because it was also very tasteful.
I appreciate that. And tasteful is the word that I'm glad you added that, because my mother's funeral wasn't meant to be a performance or a political sideshow. Mm-hmm. What I will share, a fun fact, my mother being the only elected official in the city of Tampa holding their seat to ever pass away, every decision that I made, mind you, this is the first funeral I had to plan on my own, but every decision that I was making was setting a precedent for the city of Tampa. Sure. And so that was a huge responsibility, and I took it very seriously. That motorcade that is usually only offered to the president, taking us up the highway to her burial site, the flag being laid over her casket, just all the little details. It was very important to make sure that I was setting a proper standard with her being the proper precedent with her being the first one. But I also didn't want to make the moment about me, because it was not about me, and I didn't feel like it was the right place to explicitly state my intention. I definitely just wanted to keep the main thing, and I was so grateful to see your face, and I really appreciate you for being there that day. Yeah.
Well, let's just dive into your campaign
and
for
the
this seat
plans.
and the plans. Yeah, let's talk about your agenda. What is the top priority on your agenda list?
Absolutely. So houses that we can afford. Me being a millennial, it's we're priced out of the housing market, and it's our turn. Right before 2 days before my mother passed away, I was actually on Zillow looking at houses. I came across like a $400,000 house, and I said, "Mommy, what about this one?" She's like, "Ari, you have houses," and I'm like, "No, you have houses." 2 days later, I woke up set to inherit 3 properties, but I didn't expect to be a property owner, overnight. And it's our generation's turn to finally buy our homes, and for them to be homes that we can afford. We deserve our streets to be safe. Broken sidewalks are evidence of a broken system, and we deserve small businesses that feel supported, because the entrepreneurs are absolutely holding the line and holding our city up. They're feeding us. They're helping us with our everyday lives, and more than last but certainly not least, absolutely creating programs and resources that support our youth. Because what I need them to know as an 11-year entrepreneur myself is that they don't have to ask for anyone's permission to be successful. I didn't have to ask for anyone's permission to fill out my LLC. Didn't have to ask. Actually, Hillsborough County was the first person that I won a contract with. They gave me several $1,000s to go into schools and execute poetry workshops. At the time, is what I was doing as a writer to the youth, just to help them, continue. Art and safety go hand in hand. So where we're supporting art, we're definitely supporting our children and our youth's minds. And so I want to make sure that we're advocating and bringing the youth up with us as we rise.
What's the implementate? Like, how do we implement these things? How do we make housing more affordable? Because let's be real. A lot of people want affordable housing. A lot of people want safe streets. A lot of people want all these things. And like you said, nobody's done anything, right? There have been small things that have happened along the way. I don't want to discredit a lot of the efforts that people have done for years. But how will you take it up a notch?
Well, see, that's a great thing that I think you have also said. And what I have been cautioned to this entire race is not bad mouthing our city staff and not bad mouthing the mayor, because these are the people who are ultimately going to be, whoever wins this seat, we're going to be co-workers, and we will have to work together. And they have put a concerted amount of effort into building this city. And so absolutely adding a new mind to see where some of those gaps are and some of the gray areas where we maybe haven't pushed the needle as far as we could is necessary, but they have absolutely been working. And so a way to make housing attainable, which there is a metric within the budget and within the budgets of the CRAs for housing. And so there are city-owned properties, infill lots, city-owned properties that are in the right places, strategic places that we can build density in. And we can also, it's our responsibility as community to engage with our CACs, to engage with our neighborhood groups, and because nobody knows what our neighborhoods need more than the people who live in them.
Right.
So if the neighbors come to the table and engage in this process and put down what they want to be in those community benefit agreements that the developers are required to submit and honor, then we will know, and we can have certain stipulations around aesthetics and things that will hold it true to the culture that Tampa already carries, because I know that is a lot of the concern as we are moving forward and building pathways and developing and finding out what's possible. People are concerned about the aesthetic of our city, the history that it carries and represents. And so there can be stipulations for that in our community benefit agreement. If we want art to be included in these developments, there can be be stipulations for that. If you want contracts to be won by small businesses, there can be stipulations for that. And there can also be pipelines that create the training necessary for our small businesses so that they're ready when the time comes and they're in position to be successful and actually go after those contracts so that they can be awarded one.
Let's talk about safety.
Yes.
Crime prevention.
Yes.
What are your tactics on your strategies to improve safety in District 5? Yeah.
Well, it's occupying the youth's time, and an idle mind is the devil's playground. Is that the saying? So making sure that they have a job to go to, making sure they have a job that they're trained for, and making sure that they have a mentor that they can connect to where they can feel seen and heard and appreciated. I definitely want to start workshops where they can tap into what trade feels best for them. I got my BFA in playwriting, but my trade as a makeup artist and a casting associate is what has fed me for the past 11 years of my life outside of,
your
my mother.
Side hustles.
Outside of myself. Yeah, I was going to say outside of Black English, but actually my mother did not give me a dime for the year that I worked in our bookstore. So I didn't make any money off of that. But so I have been actually, keeping myself alive and building my coffers, always having at least 12 to 24 months worth of resources in my coffers at all times as an entrepreneur. So I'm never waiting on this month's income to pay this month's responsibilities. I'm always 12 to 24 months in ahead. And so making sure that the youth understand that they can that they can get into a trade, that there's not only one path to be successful, that they can steward over their own lives. They don't have to ask for permission. And so also in terms of public safety, it's the simple things that the East Tampa CRA strategic plan is already calling for, like clear sight lines and better illuminated bus stops and street corners and streets, and making sure that the sidewalks are repaired, and making sure that we are building a bridge between our first responders and the community, making sure we're nurturing that relationship and that we know our officers by name, and that there's a real connection there, so that the people that they're policing, they're humanizing as well. And so there's so many things that we can do as it relates to public safety that can take place well before the sirens come on. And
we know that when those that live in that area, Channel Sides, Water Street, those sidewalks are lit up, those bus stops are real bright, as she said. But when you walk over the interstate, when you cross over the interstate, Seminole Heights, Sulphur Springs, Jackson Heights, all that, where's your fight at? Where's the representation for those folks there?
Absolutely. And so, and I'm going to add also West Tampa and Ybor, the Ybor corridor into that, because what makes West Tampa and Ybor different than Hyde Park? Mm-hmm. It's not the people, it's the investment. Yeah. And so it's also the person who represents the district being able to collaborate and being able to have a listening ear and being able to build consensus, because it's going to take 4 votes no matter what we do and no matter what we accomplish. So making sure that the relationships are in place, making sure that we are constantly, that I am constantly, I'm going to speak for myself, in communication with the city staff, knowing what's going on and what the possibilities are, and then fighting to expand what needs to be expanded in those areas. Not only just lighting up Sulphur Springs, fixing the pool. We need the pool to be fixed. We don't. We're talking about youth and crime. Well, that facility, that pool gives them something constructive and fun to do. It takes them off the streets. So what is the delay with fixing the pool? And it shouldn't be a patch job. We should dig it up and rebuild it and build it right, because there is no more and there is no more patching that can happen with that Sulphur Springs pool. If anything that we do with it, it will have to be a completely new rebuild. So yeah, I hope I answered the question.
Right, it did. Right now, we're in this space of no representation of District 5. I would like to think that current city council members are thinking of District 5 and moving in a way as they discuss the budget, right? And the comprehensive plan. Like, they're literally talking about that today at city council meeting. So we know, a couple of things. Election September 9th. Let's say landslide win, whoever sits in that seat. If they win September 10th, you could come in and maybe get some things in on that budget, right? Or potentially. But more than likely, that budget's going to be passed when whoever wins this election. So how do you work to still get things accomplished with the budget that has already been passed?
Amend. Once you get up there, they are also going to have to decide who's going to be the CRA chair. Luis Vieira made it very clear that he just wants to do that in interim because it's traditionally held by the person who holds the District 5 seat because the majority of the CRAs are in District 5. Yeah. And so just being highly aware of what's going on, all the things they're passing while there is no representation, and then, being willing to challenge it if necessary and being willing to say, hey, this got through, but it doesn't represent the people that live in this district, so I think we need to take a look at it.
Yeah, that's going to take a lot of work.
But what we cannot do, and I don't, and that's my fear, because it is being heavily promoted that we aren't going to be involved in the budget discussion, and it sounds like we are forcing a runoff. And listen, although politics and theater are connected because there's a lot of show involved, this is not for entertainment. Yeah. So I would caution us not to force a runoff and to win outright on September 9th. And the thing that we must do is get behind the person who has the strongest pathway to victory. Now, I'm not going to say who that is.
But you can somewhat figure it out.
But that's what we should do. We should get behind the person who has the strongest pathway to victory.
Why do you think, I'm going to assume, why do you think you have the strongest? Do you think that you have the strongest pathway to victory? And if so, why?
Well, I don't, it's not so much about arrogance. I am confident, but I'm also, humble, and I'm a servant first. And so with my dedication to serve, you know what? I'm going to say something I've never said before. Okay? Because my mother was a good steward. She was successful, more successful than I even realized, and she's taking care of me even in her absence. And so I could have just gone off into the sunset. Yeah. And taking care of the responsibilities that I already have because the position that my mother left me in, I'm fine. Right. But I think that would be irresponsible. I think that would be irresponsible. All that I know, all that I've learned, all that we fought for, all the things that, the conversations that I heard in private, all the motions that are still open that she hasn't completed. We're not just running a race. And that's what I've been trying to, not just because I'm her daughter and I want the sympathy vote, but that's what I've been trying to kind of like keep the main thing. And what are us young people saying these days? Follow the plot. What I'm trying to get people to do is follow the plot and realize that we're not just running a normal race, we're finishing a term. We're finishing a term. And so coming in with fresh ideas and all these new ideas when we only have 15 months left in a term, highly likely we're not going to be able to get through too much of that, but we can definitely close out the motions that the current city councilwoman already has open. We can definitely close out those meetings with the city staff that she already has on the books. I know what was set to discuss. The office is already built. The aide is already in place. She's been working for a year and a half. I can't speak to her right now and kind of engage with her right now because I don't want her to be in harm's way as it relates to my race, but I would definitely choose her again, and we would just complete the task, as my mother would say.
Ariel, let's talk about voter turnout. You represent, you're one of the youngest candidates in this race. Talk about voters turnout. What are you doing to get people out, and not just anybody, but the young generation out to cast a vote?
Listen, I'm knocking on doors, and I'm also, that's what I was saying about alienating people from the democratic process, because when I'm talking to a young person, I'm dropping into my young vernacular and I'm dapping them up. Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm actually speaking their language. When they ask me, why you? I say, well, I don't take the interstate. I take the back roads, and I know how to get where I need to go. I was raised here. You know what I mean? I didn't move here and learn and fall in love with this community. I've been driving down these roads my entire life. The county, actually, the planning commission that is under county, not city, but it absolutely stewards over the plans that will develop the city in the long run. They developed the city 20 years in advance. The Planning Commission came to get me when I was about 8 or 9 years old from then Robert E. Lee Elementary in District 5, now renamed as Tampa Heights Elementary, and they included me in a needs assessment. An 8-year-old, and asked me, what do you think your neighborhood needs? And we walked every street, we walked every block. I told them where sidewalks were missing, what sidewalks were cracked, why is this pothole here, what can we do about the Boys and Girls Club here? They need some renovations. And so 10 years later, that same planning commission hired me as a paid intern my senior year in high school. So this city and this county has been respecting my vision for a very long time. And I just want to continue to fight for it as I've been doing my entire life. And I want to be able to be a good steward and a good servant and just keep the main thing. And I'm going to say it again, complete the task.
It's tough. I'm sorry, Deanne, real quick, but it's tough. It's tough getting these people out.
Oh yeah, and so I'm so sorry. And so to go back to that, so I'm absolutely right. Like staying true to how they hear the language that they use and explaining it in a way that can land on them. And I'm on the social sites and I'm on the social networks and I'm knocking on doors and in that way I'm just, like I said, the candidate in this case is an organizer. And so I've moved the needles on races. I was on Janet Cruz's race, Senator Janet Cruz, for her last run for city council, and I was assigned areas. And so although we did not win her race, her race was not won overall, the areas that I was assigned to flipped.
Oh, wow.
So I do have a metric, I do have data to show that I do know, how to be a successful organizer.
I'm hoping that we do have a better turnout. That's my hope. Because like when your mother ran, turnout was terrible.
Yeah. And there was a mayoral race on the ballot. So that says a lot that we still didn't bring it out.
It was awful. Mm-hmm. And so my problem here is we get to these points, right? Like now, where everybody got something to say about who should win, who need to be in a seat, what we need, what we want, and then they don't go out and vote.
So
and then in 3 months,
they complain.
They mad. They mad at something.
They complain.
But then didn't vote. So I'm hoping that we do something differently. And I was curious, talking about like getting the younger voters out. Yeah. Like, is it through TikTok? Are you meeting them where they are? Like,
I am meeting them where they are. I am meeting them where they are with the social media, but I'm also out in the communities and a lot of people
meeting them
in public, and some people too. I will say, and this is not just like a Black issue. This is an everyone issue as it relates to people who maybe have been incarcerated in the past. There are a lot of people who don't know that they can still engage in the democratic process, and that laws have changed where they're like, "Oh, I'm a felon, I can't vote." I'm like, yeah, and you don't want to. It's sensitive to say, well, unless it was this crime or this crime, but you do encourage them to say no and pull up the data and say no. You can still be involved. And then for the people who can't be involved, I assure them that it doesn't matter. I'm still going to take your voice to the table with me.
And the importance of also getting out and voting local.
Yeah, I think voting where you are.
I think people want to always want to look at the big
sexy elections. They call those the sexy elections.
Yeah, but when it comes down to voting local, this is where your voice is heard.
Absolutely,
yeah, it's where you see the most change. Like,
absolutely,
a lot of the things that you've talked about that you want to address, where you're talking about the sidewalks, where you're talking about the community programs, where you're talking about the swimming pool that you want to go hang out with your friends at, where you're talking about not having to go out of your district to go to Publix.
Right.
These issues, President Trump is not fixing that.
Yeah.
Well,
it's the local elections that's fixing that.
And I was encouraged. We did a few send-offs for seniors going off to college, and I made sure, hey, fill out your register. Make sure you're registered to vote, and make sure that you sign up for your absentee ballot specifically, so that you can move the needle at home. And that's what I did my entire matriculation. My freshman class was the one who voted in President Obama for the first and second term, and I made sure that my vote counted for Florida. And so that was a presidential election, but voting locally as well, you can still. My mom always was making sure that even in the municipal elections that I made sure that she made sure I had my ballot, and that I was making sure that my voice was counted here at home.
If you were to be elected, day one, when you come in, what's the first thing on the agenda?
Well, the first thing on the agenda would be taking my oath. Taking my oath and committing to it and meaning it sincerely, and taking it to heart, and committing to make decisions that I can sleep with when I lay my head on the pillow at night. And then I would get involved right away with reviewing the budget. And I would also start the education piece of making sure that the lines of communication between the public and their representative is open. I'm not going to get offline once I win the race. I'm going to try to become a little bit of an influencer. And let the people know exactly where to find me in order to let me know what they feel would make our city more equitable. And then I will also do the education piece of walking the public through how to make those public records requests. Because what I want to challenge everyone to do is to hold themselves as residents and constituents to the same standard that they're holding their politicians and their elected officials and representatives to, which is reading the charter, reading the budget, reading the agendas. They're all as simple as a public records request. And so having workshops that let you know how to make those requests and engage, so we can have a dialogue and not so much just the one-sided, talking at the people version of government. Now,
there's been talks that if there's a new Tampa Rays stadium built in Tampa, it could possibly be in District 5. Yeah. What is your take on that? Are you for? Are you against it? Where you at on that?
Well, just like every opportunity and just as it relates to every development, I would just want to make sure I knew who it was benefiting. Right. So anything we build in this city, it has to benefit the people. It has to benefit the small businesses. It has to create jobs. It has to hit those metrics. And also, I don't want to say, that it's not necessarily in a neighborhood. That stadium where it's being proposed to be built right now is right outside of Palmetto, which is one of the most underserved. When I went to Palmetto and the times that I've spent in Palmetto, the fear in our residents and constituents' eyes down there is so real. I think that has been where I've been brought to tears, actually visibly, boots on the ground. I allowed myself to get emotional the most in Palmetto. Wow. They are scared that seawall. It needs to be upgraded. We have to protect them. We have to make sure that they know how to go after the funds that would help them rehab their homes.
Yeah.
And so that's the neighborhood or the area that stadium would be connected to if it is going to go where it's proposed. So I would just make sure that whatever we do, we're including the people, bringing the people's voices to the table, making sure that they have opportunities and making sure that it's a decision that they feel comfortable with their representative making.
Okay, yeah, that's tough, right? Well, in my head, the hope would be that somehow bringing that stadium there would actually
benefit
yes,
that
create economic, absolutely.
Because that's what happens. Literally what you said earlier, what's the difference between East Tampa and Ybor City and Hyde Park?
Right.
It's the investment. No one's investing into Sulphur Springs. No one's investing into these communities. So we're not getting the effects of a Water Street or the effects of a Hyde Park in those communities because there's no investment. So
in an entertainment zone like that, did you see how much the economy did an uptick here when Taylor Swift or Beyonce came to town? Can you imagine, if we had an entertainment mixed use space, what type of funds that could generate for our city? Absolutely.
Well, when you talk about investments and investors coming in, you talk about developers and you talk about people being pushed out of their homes and properties taken away. Is that a fear there?
Sure. And so that's what would make this conversation even more fair, right? What the East Tampa CRA's strategic plan does quote at the time. Now, I have been quoted as saying that it was created in 2004, hasn't been updated since 2009, but it does, even at that time, clearly state that there is no anti-displacement policy. Listen, I went off to college, and I can't imagine how I would feel if once my degree was conferred, I came home and my mother's home was no longer on Central Avenue for me to come home to because we had been displaced and without resources. So our students, our youth, as they're leaving and bringing their gifts back home, they deserve to come back to a neighborhood and entrust that their family is still going to be there. So we do not have an anti-displacement policy. I would fight for the anti-displacement policy so that we can, make the residents who originally built this community and who have held it down for so long feel like they're not just being pushed out.
Awesome. Right. Well, tell the people how they can follow you, support you as you march your way, and as they march their way to the polls September 9th, or even if you do early voting next week.
Yes. And so Listen, this campaign is about legacy, but it's also about the future. It's about our youth. I am the youth. I am 35-year-old Democrat. Even though this is a nonpartisan race, I'm a 35-year-old woman, someone who happens to be a woman, and I am the representative of the legacy that currently holds this seat. And I intend to finish our work. I want affordable homes for the people who deserve them, and safer streets, and to prop up our small businesses and help them win the opportunities that would help keep their businesses thriving. So thank you so much. My website is thelegacyarielamir.com. My Instagram is @thelegacyarielamir, and my email is support@thelegacyarielamir. So the branding is consistent.
All right. Well, we love to see it. Congratulations.
Thank you.
We're proud of you.
Thank you.
And I know your mother is proud as well.
Thank you.
Absolutely. All right, y'all. We're getting closer and closer to September 9th. Make sure y'all make y'all's way to the poll. We've given you the platform to be an informed voter, and we will continue to do so. We will continue to do so because we have another episode next week.
We do. And, the good thing about our episodes and our podcast here is that we're giving these candidates ample amount of time to, share all the nooks and crannies, who they are, what they represent, their priorities, all the above. And so we also give you the opportunity to chime in and ask questions. So come September 4th, early voting, September 9th, don't sit at that ballot and try to figure out who's who, because you have some reference of
time, space, and opportunity.
Getting to know these people. So
all right, y'all. Well, we'll see y'all next Thursday. We are live again at 9:30 in the morning.
That's 9:30
on the WFLA Facebook page and the WFLA app. You can always go back and watch our episodes. Send this to your friends, your families, your cousins. Yes. You can watch on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and on YouTube. And of course, it's always available on our WFLA streaming app as well. So thanks for joining us, y'all. It's been real. Stay rooted.
Stay rooted, folks.